2 Timothy 3:16 says, "All scripture is given by inspiration of God and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness." What questions does this verse answer? Unfortunately, most Christians think that this verse answers the question, is the Bible infallible? Now that's a funny question first and foremost because the Bible didn't exist when Paul wrote this letter. In reality, the two questions this verse answers are, what qualifies as scripture and where does it come from? What Paul is saying here is everything that's inspired by God is scripture. Everything written under the influence of the Spirit of God is scripture and is efficacious for teaching, correcting, directing, and elucidating righteousness, or showing more about how God is and why he is that way. And it's good for all of these purposes up to the extent with which it accurately aligns with God's will and character. Think of it like water. You can have a little bit of water or a lot of water, and that water can be completely pure or less pure. You can't define what Scripture is without defining what it is not. Scripture is not a final, infallible, best expression of any idea. That's because all Scripture is limited to the limits of language in which it's expressed. It's also limited by the understanding of the person who expresses it. It's also limited by the understanding of the person who hears it. Now, why does this matter? It'd be very silly to think that by reading one verse that Paul wrote, you can somehow extract the value of everything he wrote. It'd be even sillier to think that by reading everything he wrote that we have access to today, you could learn just as much as you could if you were sitting with him face to face. Now you say, well, Paul was just a man. That's right. But if you have these attitudes, that you can somehow extract all this value out of these limited experiences, I promise you, you have the same limiting ideas in your relationship with God. Do you limit what he can tell you to what you already understand about some idea? You see, God does not contradict himself, but he is not bounded by the limits of our understanding. He has every right to come to us and correct what we think we know about what he said. And any other attitude about this is a form of pride, and it is very, very bad.